My name is Elias Thorne. I am 50 years old. Before my world collapsed, I was an Air Force rescue commander, a para-rescue jumper. For 20 years, my job was to plunge straight into the eye of the storm, dangling from cables over raging floodwaters to pull human beings back from the thin line between life and death. I have witnessed every form of tragedy: aircraft shattered against snow-covered mountainsides, ships crushed to splinters in the heart of a pitch-black ocean. My world was always very clear. Life was measured in heartbeats, oxygen levels, and the tensile strength of a steel cable. I never believed in miracles. If I could not touch it, if I could not measure it, then to me, it simply did not exist. Now, I live alone in a small apartment in Seattle, Washington. The space is so silent that I can hear the sharp ticking of the clock and the heavy, rhythmic sound of my own breath. On the walls hang old photographs from rescue operations, now nothing more than faded memories of a life that has already passed by. I run my callous fingers along the long, jagged scar on my left forearm. A piece of shrapnel from a failed mission left it there. That scar is the last thing tethering me to my glory days. But inside of me, there is another fracture, deeper and more painful. It is the hollow feeling of being discarded by the military after a series of compounding injuries. I see myself as an old, worn-out component tossed aside, a forgotten hero living in the shadows, drifting without a purpose in the heart of this modern city. I used to think I would die as a nameless man in the darkness of this room. But I was wrong. Everything changed completely when my heart suddenly stopped beating for 12 minutes on the operating table at St. Jude's Hospital. The event that led me to that fateful operating table began with one final rescue flight in the Sandstone Mountains, the place where I truly came face to face with death. The roar of the rescue helicopter's engine gives one final groan before dying out completely, leaving behind a terrifying silence. Among the sharp and treacherous peaks of the Sandstone Mountains, the impact happens so fast that my mind cannot even form the shape of fear. A ground-shaking thud echoes. Metal tears apart, glass shatters into a million pieces, and then the cold rushes in. I feel my chest being crushed, my breath choking off, and my vision blurring until it collapses into a deep, black hole. In that vast darkness, I dreamily hear the crackle of the radio emitting emergency codes, the very language I have used my entire life to save others. But now it sounds so foreign. We found the commander. His heartbeat is too weak. We need to evacuate him right now. Those are my soldiers. They are frantically digging through the scorched piles of scrap metal to pull me out. I feel my body being lifted, heavy and broken. The roar of another rescue helicopter's rotor blades thunders overhead, a sound that was once the very reason I lived, but now it sounds like a funeral bell. My blood stains the white snow, red before all sensation vanishes completely. I thought everything had ended, but I did not disappear. In a strange moment, I find myself standing in the corner of the ceiling of operating room number 4 at St. Jude's Hospital. Below me, over a dozen people in blue protective scrubs are frantically surrounding a broken body on a stainless steel table. That is me. I see the chief surgeon drenched in sweat, holding 2 defibrillator paddles, shouting out medical statistics. I see the heart rate line on the monitor is stretched into a flat, soulless ribbon. Strangely, I feel no pain and no anxiety. I feel weightless, an absolute freedom that 50 years of carrying this heavy body never allowed me to have. I fly through the ceiling, through the gray clouds of Seattle, looking down at the tiny lines of traffic like ants crawling on the ground. Then, physical reality vanishes entirely. I am pulled into a tunnel of consciousness and hurled forward at a speed beyond all concepts of time. I pass through brilliant galaxies and alien planets where, with just a glance, I understand every law of their physics. Finally, I stop before a sea of radiant white light, a place with no horizon, only peace and happiness spreading through every molecule of my soul. At the center of that sea, the Creator appears. He is as radiant and magnificent as a giant sun. But inside that aura of light is not fire, but billions, trillions of spheres of consciousness moving rhythmically like an eternal symphony. His light touches me, warming my soul. He asks me in a deep but loving voice, "Elias, do you understand why you exist here?" I reply with a trembling thought, "I do not know. I only know I spent my whole life saving people, but in the end, I am the one who needs to be saved." The light from him flares up, soothing my pain. "You did well in your work as a rescuer of the physical body, but now, look into the essence of creation. Do you see the souls floating in this sea of light? Before going down to earth, all were happy, but all were naive. I gave you the most precious gift of all, and that is free will. I ask, free will? If we have that right, why is the world down there full of war, poverty, and cries of suffering?" He transmits an image of a soul nursery, where everything is perfect but lacks maturity. I could force all of you to become good, to love one another immediately. I have the power to do that to anyone. But if I use force, then free will disappears. The very core of why you were created would be violated. I want beings who can voluntarily choose kindness, voluntarily choose compassion and honesty even when they are in the darkness of suffering. I am silenced by that truth. He continues to explain, his voice echoing like gentle thunder. The earth you just left is actually a great training ground. You go down there to learn my virtues for yourselves through your own actions. The pain, the scars, even the horrific accident you just experienced, all of these are lessons designed so that your soul becomes toughened and ready for a greater existence later on. You chose this life. You chose even these challenges to understand the value of helping others. I look into that giant sun and ask, "So, have I finished my lesson? Can I stay here?" The vibration from the Creator becomes more solemn. "Not yet, Elias. Your mission has only just truly begun. The world is approaching an important point of convergence, where the boundary between light and darkness will become its most fragile. I need you to go back, not to save bodies from the wreckage of helicopters, but to save the souls that are dying in uncertainty." Immediately, a scroll of light unfurls before my eyes. Images of the future appear like a surreal movie. I see timelines shaking, I see nations falling into chaos, and I see a special group of people rising up. He gives me a supreme command. Remember this time window. From the 16th to the 21st of November of this year, the very year that humanity is standing at the threshold of the greatest upheavals. This is the ultimate crossover point of two worlds. In those 6 days, I will pour down signs and wonders to awaken humanity. You must return to bear witness to that. You must find the forgotten elderly, the silver warriors hiding in nursing homes and dark basements. They are the only ones still quiet enough to hear my voice in the coming storm. I feel a terrifying pressure pushing me back. I cry out in panic. What must I say to them? How will they believe someone like me? He decrees, you do not need to convince them with empty words. I will leave undeniable marks upon your body and your mind. Tell them that the great reversal is coming. Those who are looked down upon by the world will become spiritual leaders. Prepare for those 6 days, as if they are the final days of an old era. He points to a specific date on the calendar, glowing, as if written in pure gold, and says, if humanity does not prepare, this window will become a gateway of chaos. But if they are ready, it will be the beginning of a global revival unlike any seen before. Before I am pushed back into the darkness of reality, his voice still echoes in my ears. Go, Elias. Become the rescuer of the final harvest. I stood there, amidst that eternal sea of light, and felt a massive torrent of information pouring into my mind. These were not mere speculations. This was a map of the future that the Creator had etched into my soul. He wanted me to deliver an urgent message, a milestone that humanity simply cannot afford to ignore. The first and most vital pillar is the convergence window. Time is running out. Burn this timeline into your memory from the 16th to the 21st of November of this year. In these 6 short days, the veil separating the physical world from the spirit realm will thin to its absolute limit. This is the moment of ultimate intersection, where every sincere prayer and every act of kindness will create shockwaves that vibrate across the entire universe. If you are searching for a sign, if you are waiting for a turning point, these 6 days are the answer. In that vision, I witnessed scenes that go far beyond any definition of experimental science. At the Cedar Oaks nursing home, on the exact day of November 17th of this year, I saw 15 noble souls who had been bedridden for many years. In their loneliness, the Creator made himself present, not through medicine, but through a surge of pure love. He awakened the will inside of them. I saw them stand up on their thin, frail legs, not as patients, but as silver warriors, full of dignity. They held hands and danced, singing about a city of light. The doctors there dropped their medical charts in utter shock at the power of this spiritual awakening. At the same time, the Creator showed me a veterans hospital. I saw old comrades, grizzled soldiers whose minds had long been clouded by the fog of dementia. But in that moment of revelation, there appeared to be a sudden spiritual lucidity. According to what I witnessed, their eyes became sharp and clear, as if a beam of light had been shone into their memories. They did not just remember names. In that transcendent state, they described seeing guardian entities that the naked eye cannot perceive. I understood that this was a liberation of the soul, a reconnection between consciousness and eternity that modern science perhaps cannot yet define. But this is only the beginning. After the convergence window, the timeline will escalate at a dizzying speed. I saw the milestone of late December of this year, when overnight prayer communities will explode in growth everywhere. People will no longer pray out of fear, but because of an intense, driving love from within. Moving into February of next year, strange rains of light will appear at the poles, lighting up the night sky with colors the human eye has never seen. By May of next year, I witnessed the collapse of old, dry, and rigid belief systems. Human beings will begin to abandon stiff dogmas to return to their pure spiritual essence. By August of next year, a great trial will emerge. 7 individuals claiming to be holy saints will rise in major world capitals, attempting to manipulate the faith of the crowds with fake miracles. But this deception will not last long. Exactly in November of next year, 1 full year since the day of convergence, the first great soul cleansing will take place, sweeping away the darkness and wickedness in the hearts of men. And then, the following year, humanity will truly enter an era of reconciliation, where millennial hatreds are dissolved with just one sincere hug. However, this world does not easily accept the light. I saw fierce resistance from the current system. The legal department of the hospital where I was being treated brought in thick files, using confidentiality clauses and pension benefits to pressure me into signing a gag order. They wanted to label me a religious manipulator, a victim of post-traumatic psychosis. Mainstream media began churning out smear pieces, cutting and splicing my words to turn me into a laughingstock. Even the Seattle police secretly monitored every meeting I had with veterans. They viewed our prayer sessions as a threat to public order. Despite the suppression, the wave of revelation continues to spread across the globe like an unquenchable forest fire. In the favelas of Brazil, the most notorious criminal gangs drop their guns simultaneously, surrendering their weapons to elderly mothers after they all shared the same dream of the final judgment. In Seoul, South Korea, tens of thousands of young people abandon their empty distractions to gather in public squares, fasting and praying for world peace. In ancient caves in Greece, signs made of light began to manifest on stone icons, guiding pilgrims back toward the truth. The greatest reversal I saw was the position of the elderly. This world views the old as a burden, but in God's plan, they are the generals. I saw scenes of powerful chief executive officers and young politicians kneeling in makeshift basements to ask for guidance from lonely old women. Why? Because only the souls who have walked through enough ups and downs, who have let go of all selfish ambitions, can hear the true frequency of heaven. Those pushed to the margins of society are now the only anchors keeping the ship of humanity from sinking in the storm. If you are hearing these words, understand that you have a role in this network. Do not stay on the sidelines. I call upon you to write the location where you live in the comments section right below this video. We need to connect to form a prayer grid covering the entire globe. Please share this video with every elderly person you know, whether they are grandparents, parents, or a lonely neighbor. They need to know that their time has come. Do this before the 16th of November, because every passing second is precious preparation for the window of the soul that is about to open. But when I woke up, amidst the beeping machines of the recovery room, I realized this world does not want me to speak this truth. They have prepared an iron cage and doses of sedatives to lock my soul away tightly. The rhythmic, steady beeping of the heart monitor pulls me back into the painful reality of the flesh. The doctors stand around my bed, their faces pale. They look at the monitor and then back at me as if they are looking at a strange creature. My heart rate is sitting at a mere 33 beats per minute. In medical theory, with a heart rate that low, a normal person should have fallen into a deep coma or died from a lack of oxygen to the brain. But here I am, fully awake, my eyes burning bright, feeling a current of energy circulating through every single vein. My body temperature is fixed at 35.5 degrees Celsius, a cold figure for the living, yet it is the only anchor keeping my soul from drifting away. To shatter the shock and the doubt of the medical staff on duty, I struggle to take a deep breath and speak in a raspy, thick voice. I look straight at the wall clock in the corner of the room and declare, in 14 seconds, the male patient in room 302 will suddenly wake up after 3 days in a coma. A nurse is about to laugh, thinking I am simply delirious. But then, at the exact 14th second, the emergency alarm in room 302 rings out. A doctor rushes off and then returns with a look of absolute terror, confirming that the other patient has indeed woken up. The entire staff falls silent. They look at me with eyes that no longer hold pity for an accident victim, but rather a sense of dread toward a man who seems to already know the script of reality. This truth quickly attracts forces that I never expected. 2 days later, while I have not even had the chance to have all the intravenous tubes removed, a group of men in black suits appears at the door of my room. They are not doctors, nor are they family. They introduce themselves as being from a government agency specializing in anomalous phenomena. They demand that I hand over every note, every single detail of what I saw on the other side of the sea of light. They do not hesitate to threaten to strip away all my military pension benefits and my honor as a rescue commander if I continue to make claims about the dates of the 16th to the 21st of November. They want to lock this revelation away in top secret files and force me to sign a pledge of eternal silence. I realize my body has had to pay a massive price to hold on to these heavenly revelations. I can no longer smell the sharp scent of hospital disinfectant, nor can I feel the bitterness of the pills placed on my tongue. My sense of smell and my sense of taste have vanished completely, as if those mundane senses were incinerated by the light of the Creator. In their place, a new sense arises. Now, my reality is a strange overlap. I see the layers of aura surrounding every person who enters the room. I see the dull gray of lies plain on the faces of the men in black suits, and I see the gentle blue of sincerity in a few nurses who truly care for me. The physical world now seems to me as thin as a sheet of paper, revealing the true spiritual movements happening behind it. Dr. Sarah, my primary attending physician, was initially the fiercest opponent. She believed only in experimental science and had already prepared a report to transfer me to a special psychiatric ward. But during a private examination, I looked deep into her eyes and read the exact pain of her younger brother's death 10 years ago, a secret she had never revealed to any of her colleagues. Sarah collapsed right there on the spot. From that moment on, she no longer viewed me as a psychiatric patient. She secretly helped me copy my notes regarding the prophetic timeline and became my eyes and ears, helping me evade the intense surveillance of the men in black suits. The pressure from the system is increasing by the hour. They are searching for every way to isolate me before these prophecies can spread to the veteran community and the elderly who are waiting. But I am not afraid. I know that every effort they make to stop me only proves further that what I saw is the truth. I am racing against time, preparing every bit of a silent force for the great action, as the window of the 16th of November is closing in very fast. I realize that when standing before the sea of light, every degree, every possession, or every title I once struggled to achieve vanished like mist. The only thing left behind, the only thing that sparkles and holds real weight, is the love, the kindness, and the compassion that we have shown to one another. The scars on my body are no longer pain. They are the marks of healing. The betrayal and abandonment of the old system were simply a necessary push to wake me up, to make me realize that true power does not lie in weapons or money, but in the sacred connection between our souls and the Creator. Do not wait until your final breath to start learning how to love, serve, forgive, and cherish every soul around you, starting right this very second. I want you to understand that you are not an accident of creation. You are here, hearing these words, because you hold an irreplaceable position in the global network of light. I want to take a moment to send a prayer to all of you. May the strength from heaven protect and guide your soul through the upheavals soon to come. I declare liberation for those held in the chains of fear. I declare absolute protection over your family and your mind. Light is pouring into your room, warming your pains and filling the empty spaces in your heart. You are a warrior of truth, and no darkness can ever extinguish the flame within you. If you feel your soul is ready for this mission, perform an act of commitment right now. Write down in the comments the words, "I am awake," or "God is my Savior." This is not just a line of text. It is an affirmation of your position before the universe. Share this video as a true life-saving mission. Send it to the lonely elderly, to friends who have lost their way, because every share is a spark ignited in the darkness. We stand together. We fight with love. The clock is ticking down its final seconds. The time window from the 16th to the 21st of November of this year is drawing very close. Prepare your spirit, because the greatest revival in human history has begun at this very moment. I am Elias Thorne. I will see you again in the light of the truth.